Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the largest or second largest asset, that most of us are going to buy more than once in our lives. We're going to talk about cars a little bit. So now, unless you're living in a major metropolitan area with fantastic public transit, you're probably going to end up buying some sort of vehicle at some point in your life. I myself have probably owned 7 or 8 different cars. Personally, only one of them has ever been bought new. Everything I've ever had otherwise was bought used. Some of it very, very old. I've had vehicles that were as old as I was at the point in time where I've owned them. And so here we're going to talk really briefly. Should I buy new, lease, or buy used? So perks of buying new: there's no wear and tear. You get all the bells and whistles and new features. You have a bumper to bumper warranty usually. And so it's very much, no headaches. Don't have to think about it. Getting a lease can be advantageous. It depends. I'm a strong advocate for a lease if you're running a business. So you can then deduct these payments. And the reason you pay less on a lease for the same type or same lifespan as you would if you were purchasing the car is because you're really only paying for the depreciation plus a few fees over that duration, over that time span. So depending on what car it is, that can turn into a fairly advantageous deal. And then if you're running a business where you can deduct either the car payments, mileage, gas, all that stuff against expenses, then it's a tax advantage as well. And then buying used is one of my favorites, I guess. And here's why. Buying a new car, you suffer almost 50% of the purchase price in depreciation over the first 3 years. Really 2 to 5, but let's average that out to 3 years. So half of the value of what you paid for is gone over the first 3 years. And then occasionally you still owe more than what the car is worth at that point. So that can become a slightly challenging deal. If you're looking to offload it, you might get less for it than what you owe. And it's not a great way to have an asset turn out money for you. So if you're a little bit good with some DIY, you can do your own oil change or stuff like that, definitely go used and don't worry too much about the age. If you don't want to do DIY and you're skeptic about how much work and breakdowns and maintenance you're going to have to do, I'd say stick with a used car that's 2 or 3 years old. This is actually part of the book Millionaire Next Door. The millionaire next door buys a 2-3-year-old pickup or sedan, very low key. The reason for that is most of the appreciation's gone. You'll run it yourself for another 2 or 3 years and then pass it on to the next person with very little depreciation. And typically those 3 to 6 years of ownership, or third year to sixth year of ownership, has fairly low maintenance or low chance of a major breakdown happening, other than the regular consumables of oil and brakes and stuff like that. Now when you go to buying new, one of the big problems there is you're going to get shopped around. Yes, I said that, shopped around. So the seller, or the dealership mostly, is going to shop you a payment. And this is something you got to be really, really careful for. So they will get you in a car that is usually way overspec'd, way overpriced, but they'll give you a payment that is favorable to you. And they'll even ask you this as soon as you walk in. What sort of payment are you looking for? And let's say you say $500 a month. No problem. They'll put you in an $80,000 car and they'll give you 84 months of payments, which is brutal because then you'll still have an old car, typically not worth what you owe on it at the tail end. It's going to start to break down. The warranty is usually expired or expiring, and you're still paying the same price as day one when you bought it. So that's a very, very tricky position. Make sure you're not there shopping yourself a payment. You're shopping for the car. You want to negotiate on the buy price, and then you want to put that on a payment scale that works for you. Second, when it comes to maintenance, I'm a strong advocate of going for outside dealership help. I mean, unless you have a premium car, the type with a silver star on the front of it, even then, I would find myself a trusted, good mechanic nearby that isn't affiliated to a stealership. I learned that from my Jeep friends, Steelers. Anyway, dealerships are usually very, very high priced, both for their labor, their parts. You can get almost half price, or get away with a half price at any other mechanic. I have one here in town. It's fantastic. I bring everything to them now. I used to do a lot of the work myself. Now I'm just too old to be crawling underneath cars, I guess. So anyway, that's about it. Watch out. Don't buy yourself a payment plan. Buy the car on the price. Don't shop on payment. I would strongly advocate buy a mildly used car, 2 to 3 years old, fantastic price point. Buy it used, buy it outright if you can, or just negotiate a payment plan with some alternate creditor if you have to. And lease if you have a business and you can actually get all of those things as deductibles. That's a fantastic option. But be careful with the leases, especially if you're doing a lease just for yourself and not a business, because then you have mileage restrictions. If you're not planning to buy it back, you may end up giving the car back and owing money, which they then typically loop you into doing what's called a balloon. They will take the money you owe, they'll put it on top of the next car you lease, and they'll just give you another payment. And that can quickly snowball. I've seen people do this 4 or 5 times in a row, and then they pretty much have a car debt they can never get out from under because they'll owe too much money. So anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks.